Hello and welcome to this training module on customizing entity types. Now, essentially, you'll learn how to change the look and feel of content types in this training module. But before we begin, let's just do this quick thought experiment. Now, what if you wanted to modify this search block on the right? How would you do that? Would you modify it in the theme? Well, actually, I shouldn't have said search block because just imagine you are a new Drupal site builder. You don't know that it's a block. You just know that it's a form on the left, but you want to modify it. You don't understand that it's an actual block. But what if you also want to modify the logo? Where do you change that? Is it in CSS? Is it in theme settings? Or the site name? Where do you change that? These are things that beginner site builders do not know. But finally, what if you want to add an extra field to the bottom of this body field? Well, this is what we are going to focus on in this training module. You will learn how to add formatters to this display mode in Drupal. Now, we'll cover the block system and the theme system in other training modules, but for this one, we're just going to focus on display modes. So what are the objectives for this training module? Well, you'll first learn about display modes, and then I'll show you how to use field layout and layout builder. Now, these modules are part of Drupal core. And then you'll learn how to use display suite, which is a personal favorite. And then finally, I'll show you how to use field group, which is great for grouping fields as tabs or vertical tabs, hence the name field group. But let's now talk about display modes. Display modes are comprised of two parts, a form mode and a view mode. Now, a display mode allows you to contextually display fields. Now, what does that really mean? Well, let's just take a view mode, for example. Let's say you want to display an article in the sidebar with a title and also a cut down body field, or like a trimmed version of the body field. What you could do is you could create a view mode called sidebar and then add the title to the view mode and then add the body field using the trimmed formatter. And then with the form mode, you could use a form mode to customize the registration page in Drupal. Because right now, if you register a new account on Drupal, you see the same fields as if you were to edit a user account. Now, that doesn't really make sense because you have a lot more fields. And more often than not, you really want the registration field to be a cut down version of your user edit form. So that is how you would use view modes and form modes. Just remember that a view mode allows you to contextually group formatters and a form mode allows you to contextually group widgets. Now, if you want to manage all of your display modes, just go to structure and then click on display modes. And then if you click on view modes, you can see all of the available view modes, and there are a lot. Essentially, whenever you install a module with a custom entity, there will be view modes. And here you can see all of the view modes which are available for content types. And you can see that there are a few. By default, only RSS and teaser are enabled, but you can easily enable full content, search index, and search result highlighting input. Now, if you go to the canonical page of a content type, so anything with /node/then ID, that actually uses the full content view mode. So if you want to modify the formatters on this page, modify it using the full content view mode. And then any content which has promote to front page ticked will appear on the home page using the teaser view mode. So anything within these two regions will be displayed if you customize the teaser view mode. So think of the teaser view mode as kind of like a cut down version of an article or a basic page. And you can use that anywhere. It's not just used on the homepage. You could create your own custom view and then specify it to use the teaser view mode. Now, in the past, I've often had multiple versions of a teaser. I've had the teaser version, but then I've also created a small teaser because perhaps there was a need based off the designs to have a teaser version, but two different versions of a teaser. And in Drupal, that's very easy to do. You can easily just create your own view mode and you're done with it. And then if you want to modify your view modes, simply go to the manage display page, and then you can modify your view modes there. And here you can see that there are two enabled, RSS and teaser. The default is used as a fallback. And what I mean by that is if Drupal loads up an entity using a disabled view mode, it'll default to the default view mode, hence the name default. So if you go to an article canonical page with the URL of node/123, Drupal will try and load it up using the full content view mode. If the full content view mode is disabled, it'll simply fall back to the default view mode. But as soon as you enable full content, then that one gets used. Think of default as kind of like the fallback default view mode, which gets used if Drupal can't see the enabled view mode. And coming back to display modes, if you click on form modes, you will only see one poor lonely form mode, and that is called register, which is a bit of a shame because form modes are very, very powerful, but they're not that often used, which is a bit of a shame. And the register view mode allows you to customize the registration form. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you go to the create new account page, and this is the page where a user would register or create a user account, they will see the two most important fields, which are email and username, but they'll also see picture, contact settings, locale settings, which aren't really required. And I would recommend that you take those widgets out because trust me, it's hard enough to get somebody to register for your site. It's even harder if they get bombarded with a whole bunch of fields. So my recommendation is enable the register form mode and then just leave email address and username. And then if a user edits an account, well, they will see all of the widgets because when you edit an account, it uses the default view mode. So you can customize the user edit page as well as the registration page.